Well, hello, beautiful people. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Dating and Bright, the podcast. We are not affiliated or endorsed by Brightline Eating, and all content presented in this podcast represents our personal opinions and does not represent medical, nutritional, or psychological professional advice.
Maria, what are we talking about?
You're gonna have to lean up.
Maria, what are we talking about?
Because if she doesn't lean up, nobody's gonna be able to hear.
Well,
I want people to hear me.
Okay.
yeah,
What are we talking about?
what are we talking about? Well, I will tell you. Welcome, first of all, to Megan and Patty's Brightline Eating on the Bright Line. I don't know
No,
what they
no,
call it.
Dating and Bright.
Different podcast.
Dating and
Whole
Bright.
podcast.
Okay.
Now we're on a new one, but that's okay.
Okay.
We're talking about dating and what are we talking about? We're just having, we have a guest. Okay.
Okay, we're gonna start. I'm gonna actually start us off. Let me get comfortable. I'm gonna have to like sit on top of you.
Okay. Can you hear? Can they hear me? Can you hear me? I'm in trouble.
You're not in trouble.
I'm glad. Maybe I should sit in the middle. I could, you know.
Dating and Bright and Maria.
What episode are we on? Is this 13?
13.
Whoa.
Okay, here we go. Well, hello, and welcome to another episode of Dating and Bright, the podcast, episode 13. Was that 13?
It's 12 and a half, but it's okay.
12 and a half fingers.
Here, I'll put it up. Here's 3 and here 10.
So for those of you watching, you have already seen that there is another person in the room with us today. So we would like to welcome Maria.
Of Tex Maria fame.
Tex Maria, yes.
They don't know about
Thank
Tex
you.
Maria.
They
We have to
don't
tell
know.
them about Tex Maria.
Oh,
We
it's
could
the
start with
best.
that.
It's the best.
It really is.
Yes.
And it all starts because I can never remember anything. So I have alarms go off all the time. And one of my favorite alarms is Tex Maria.
So this is part of our evening, every evening, and it generally happens during dinner because it's about what time is the alarm
I
set
think
for?
it's now 7:24, but I move it around
Mhm,
because I don't
mhm,
want
you
it to
do.
be, yeah.
It's always a surprise.
Yeah.
Pleasant.
So
And I
the,
hit snooze sometimes.
so the alarm goes off, and the kids know that the sound that alarm makes is for Tex Maria, and so we will all say when we hear the alarm, Tex Maria.
And when I heard they were doing this and I would get these messages and pictures back, it would just, it made me cry that they would do that because I just needed another person to check in on me, and it's kept me from doing horrible things and a
Not
little
illegal things.
no,
just food,
no murder,
food
but
sobriety
food
stuff.
sobriety. So one thing though, they send me pictures almost daily.
Yeah.
And they're like playing card games with the kids or doing these fun things with the family. And I'm always lying on the couch watching
With your dog.
TV or my dogs. And it's like, God, I wish I could, do something. Here I am,
That's the spice of life, though, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
that's kind of how I feel about it.
Yeah.
It's like everybody's got to do their own thing, and
Yeah.
when you got little kids, you're just
Yeah,
in the thick of it. I mean, you're just in the thick of it all the
But I
time.
love that they're not on a, device.
Well, she says
at that moment.
She says
At
that as
moment.
they're currently both on devices.
Yeah, because
yeah, because we're
know,
trying to distract
we're
them so we
doing
can do a
a-
podcast.
yes. Yeah. So it's lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is how Maria is an integral part of every day of our lives.
And
Other
right,
than
I
that,
got ya.
how did you guys meet? Because you guys knew each other before I entered the picture, so I want to hear how you guys met.
Well,
Looking at
not-
Patty and Maria, sorry.
Not unlike Megan and I met Maria on
The bright and friendly
Noon
Zoom.
Zoom.
noon Zoom,
Yeah.
noon
And
for me in
I mean,
California.
Maria is from California, from Northern California, and she's up here visiting in the Pacific Northwest. And we're happy to have her here.
Yes.
And
Happy
we
to
had
be here.
lunch. We had a bright lunch.
Schmidt, that delicious bright lunch. And it was lovely.
Megan cooked.
And it's really nice to have someone else to cook and other ideas on what to eat.
Yeah.
That was so helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I met Patty when my ass was falling off with food. Literally that word and figuratively, but I was not in a good place with food. It was the first Friday in February 23, and few months earlier, my mom had passed, so I was going through grief. I'd been retired, and I had had Susan's book and read it, and it spoke to me. And I've been in OA, in and out of OA and other recovery for years, like since I was 27. It's a couple of years. And I got to this meeting just miserable, and I felt physically ill, my stomach and hiatal hernia. And Patty was just Patty, just sweet, calm, inclusive, and just lovely, as you all know. And everyone else on the meeting was lovely. And I just thought, if I could, I did it one day at a time. I thought, I'm going to be sober with food for the next 24 hours. And I'd think of them. And then I just would put day after day together as I've done before. So that's how I met. And then Megan came on.
Yes.
Met her.
Yes.
And that was great.
That was in
Loved that.
October of 23.
October.
Yeah. Yeah. So a couple months
Yeah.
later.
Yeah.
So tell us about your journey with Bright Line Eating, because
How did you find
yeah,
Billy?
yeah, you said you had the
so-
book.
Yeah.
Mhm.
How did
But
you find the book?
Just probably during COVID, right? And I was doing some online probably OA meetings a little bit. And then a friend of mine who was an FA but would help me with food. And she was really more of she was a very low-key, loving, accepting. People in FA are loving and accepting. She was able to, say, Maria, it's, just be more accepting, stop beating yourself up person. And she had heard of the book. And this program. And so then I think it just came up on when I was doom scrolling during COVID, and I went, oh, so I got the book, and yeah, I thought, oh my God. And it gave me such peace to know it was my brain, not, because I'd beat myself up of a whole lifetime of being overweight, up and down and up and down, the yo-yoing. And, when am I going to learn, was my theme song, if there is that.
We're so
And
good at beating ourselves up, aren't we?
really good, really good. And the Zoom meeting I go to, everyone, that's what I was blown away when I would slip, or, break my lines. People just got back up.
Yeah.
People just got back up. And as soon as they can, and everyone would tell me a story about, okay, how you get back up. And don't stay there long, and definitely don't beat yourself up. And I think OA and FA and all the other programs I've done have had that spirit. Sometimes people say, I never learned this in school, or I never did this. And as a teacher, retired teacher, I always say, maybe you were stoned that day. Maybe you didn't show up that day. I think people try to teach you how to read and write. So that's it. I just went, because that's what I learned as a kid, of course, because that's what so many of us learned, and my parents learned, the shame and blame. And
Right.
and it was such a trap. And so
Right.
it's freeing. It's a constant lesson, of oof, because my thoughts are always, I notice now. And I learned with this program to notice, be curious. I love that
Right.
phrase.
Yeah.
And wow, I go there right away.
Yeah. Well, and I don't think, I mean, for myself, like I could never put it together. Like, I don't know if that's how you felt before you read the book, but like, I just could never put together like why I couldn't conquer this, this weight issue that I've had my entire life. I just didn't understand why that was the thing. That was the thing that I kept coming back to. It's like I could conquer all these other things, in my life, but I could not conquer my weight.
Exactly.
And so, yeah, reading Susan's book really just put it all in perspective and really just gave me, I agree, like it was a relief almost.
Yeah.
Right. That you're like
Revelation.
a revelation of like, this is not, like some intrinsic fault that I have,
It's not failing. I am not failing at this.
Yeah.
Yeah. In recovering alcoholism, I knew alcohol is a drug, and the longer I didn't have it, the easier it is. And with food, I knew it was a drug too, with sugar and flour. I knew, and quantities, but I didn't get the science, of course, the neuroscience that it really is. It hijacks your brain. And And something about just all that knowledge, it was so, whoa, and I
Yeah.
wanted to scream it from the rooftops. And,
Right.
anyone who says, oh God, what, it's like, no, I do that too. And yet because of addiction in our brain, we learn that, you go into PECs or a difficult situation or not. It's just my brain, those pathways are always gonna be food,
Right.
and not always, but no absolutes. But that's, I notice now and I know
Right.
this. And I only notice because I stay close to the noontime in California,
We call it the noon Zoom.
noon Zoom.
Yeah, we're selfish about
But-
it. Like it happens at noon our time, so therefore it is the noon Zoom.
But in Australia, it happens the next day at something
5
horrible
a.m.
like 5
Yeah.
a.m. now. And
We just came off daylight savings time, or we just went on daylight savings
We
time.
just
Which is it?
Came off.
We just
Yeah.
came off
Yeah.
daylight savings time. I don't know.
and I like it because I know life goes on because it's Tuesday
Oh, because we're
in
because Debian's
Australia.
in the future. That's why.
Deb Ann shows
I
us
know.
we're gonna make it.
Right. Tomorrow will come.
That's right,
Well,
because
kind of.
Debian's already there.
Mhm.
Debian is our friend who comes faithfully to the Zoom every day,
Ah.
who is in Australia, and so
Rock
she always,
star.
yeah, she is our, yeah, we love you, Debian. Shout
We
out.
do.
But yeah, she always tells us, yes, tomorrow is happening, and that we can rest
Rest
assured.
assured.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
there.
It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think a big theme of this podcast, what we've decided to do is to talk about relationship and being in relationship. And so I know we had a little pre-conversation about all this, about, you are married and your husband and his relationship with food is much different than yours. If you want to talk a little bit about that and how you guys
Navigate.
navigate together.
Yeah, so completely different. I mean, his parents ate healthy meals in moderate amounts, and his mom had, I think, problems with fat people and people who ate too much. So I'm sure she's thrilled with me. But Jim is thin and always been athletic and is one of those people. Can we mention NMF?
Yeah, we do.
So
We do at times. I mean,
so
it's what it is.
imagine
Trigger warning.
I don't
Yeah.
need whatever, but I'd get him a bag. I'd get him a bag because the truth is food was how I showed love because my
Mhm.
family. So I would be like, no, I'm good with sugar. I'm good with whatever. I can get it for him. It's how I show love because he loves these things.
Mhm.
And I would get it for him and he would eat 2.
Uh-huh.
And we'd have a bag and he'd eat one and say, God, these have gone stale, and throw them out.
A foreign concept to us.
And I would be like, yeah, stale.
What does that
And
mean?
Do
then,
they go stale?
Do they?
I've never
And
had
then-
one around that long to know.
well, then I was like, I don't care. You eat them anyway. Because I'm not a quitter in that area.
I was like, you are a
So-
quitter, actually, but
Yeah. But so yeah, different. And oh God, I've jerked him around so much with, gaslit him and all that as far as, no, I'm good now. No, I can have flour
Well,
now.
and I think that's really interesting. So if you can expound on that a little bit more, because I've had a lot of conversations lately with people who their spouses aren't doing bright line eating, and
Mhm.
and they're like, I just don't understand. Like I tell them I'm doing this program. I'm like, yeah, but if you've ever flip-flopped before, their fear probably is around, where are we? Like, where am I supposed to be
what
right now?
day
Right,
is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm an addict. So he has
Right.
to live with this addict. And yeah. So and sometimes he'll kind of go for the, yeah, you're on vacation, or yeah, it's
Mm.
been whatever. And sometimes, and I hide it from him. I hide it from
Mm.
him. But he'll always say, are you okay? And it's like, that's when I've eaten in my car, done those
Mm.
things. He just knows, as kind of a Al-Anon person. I'd say he's the most non-Al-Anon person,
Oh.
because he'll just say, he's like, do whatever, but I just want you to live a long life.
Mm.
But he's very, whatever, if you need to get things out of the house, if you need to, we'll do whatever. He's very great about it.
Mm.
And then sometimes forgets and brings stuff in the house. But most of the time when I've been clean with food, I get to a point where it's like, yeah, I don't want to eat that stuff in the house. I don't want to eat. But it's probably not a good idea I have it in the house
Yeah.
because, but if I keep doing the meetings, if I keep reading the book, if I keep, online, if I keep getting text Marias and all for other friends, that's what keeps you in the game.
Yeah.
But
Now-
yeah, it's very, it's confuses him. He gets it. He had alcoholism in his family. He gets it, but occasionally go, I just don't get it. Like when I have to eat, he really would like to eat dinner together. He'd like to eat meals together. And one time recently he said, because I had to eat at 6 or whatever, because I was hungry and I knew I don't want to have like a third or fourth meal. I don't want to have my protein now. So it's like, I just get dinner done. And
Yeah.
he's fine with it. I'll just say, I just don't get it. And I think he gets frustrated with sometimes I'm good and sometimes I'm not.
Yeah.
And then I'm grieving. And so sometimes who knows?
Yeah.
Now you consider yourself a food addict, and I know a lot of people in our circles don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Glom onto that label. Does he understand that and think not think that that's valid, but does he really see it as an addiction with you and see that your recovery is necessary?
Yes, he's very supportive of, he'll be like, don't you have to go to your meeting or don't you? He's great about that. And often I'll say to him, no, I don't want to go. But then I know that's when I have to go.
Yeah.
I learned that in AA. And it is. It's like, why do I not want to go? Because my addict is like, you got this.
The addict is always sitting in the corner.
yeah.
Waiting.
I think probably he says he's proud of me. Even if I only have one day, he'll say, I'm proud of you, which is very sweet. He's very supportive.
Yeah.
And sometimes he'll try to have food. He's human. He goes back and forth.
Sure.
And I do the, no, I'm good. Or no, I can have this type of bread that has flour in it. So,
Right.
Do you cook for him?
yes. And he likes that sometimes with dinner, but sometimes I'm just I'm too tired. The grief thing is real, and retirement and figuring that all out, that's really taken a toll on my thing. But, I'm getting more back on the horse with cooking, and like, it's nice to eat with you and go, yeah, it's easy. Just you get vegetables and, you make.
Patty was pointing at me for people who are listening and not watching.
Yeah.
Great.
Easy for Megan. It's easy for Megan to cook. And I'm
Yeah.
happy for that because it's easy for me to do the dishes.
It's
Maria
lovely.
did our dishes today.
Yes, thank you.
I
Maria.
love
Thank you,
Thank
Maria.
you.
it's my water play time. I think what happens is there's a certain amount of exhaustion in the afternoon and before dinner. It goes away after I eat, but
Shocking.
yeah. And I think it just feels like insurmountable, but it's sort of like you baby step your way back into doing it. So he's a vegetarian, he eats fish, and eggs. And, I'm kind of getting in the mood more of, this would be good to have these things. It's chunks of periods of time where griefy or depression or what have you that affect that. But we always have food in there
Right.
that's vegetables that I don't know if they'd like to be eaten. I can't speak for them, but
I've heard that we have to,
So
if we apologize to
presumptuous.
them, they feel better.
They feel
don't
better.
feel as much pain when we eat them or cut them down.
I
so-
know. God. And I have so many plants. I wonder if they're going,
Don't eat my brother. Don't
Why
eat
is
my
she gonna cut me
sister.
down?
So here's a question I think is interesting that I know I've heard a lot of people talk about is that prior to you coming to your sobriety, food sobriety, or understanding your food sobriety a little bit more, was food an integral part of your relationship? Because it doesn't sound like he is a food addict and that his life.
when we first started dating, it was like a big deal for us to go out to eat, date. And he liked it. We did not have money and shouldn't have been doing it because I put on my charge card. It was stupid, but yeah, it was. But thank God he wasn't that into food, or I would have gotten bigger.
Mm,
because I have friends whose husbands are like foodies and make
Right.
food. Oh my God.
yeah.
He makes a few things and he makes it well and it's healthy but he's like, I can't eat it all. I'm full guy.
Mm-hmm.
I knew things might be weird or he should have run. Let me tell you, so many red flags with me. I'm not even kidding. I'm not even kidding. Um, we'd have our dinner out and then do you want dessert? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you bet I do. And at that point I had, I was trying to be demure and we'd share it.
Oh.
That was rough. And so that didn't last long because of where the NMF, where he'd get his fork, he could have I don't know, no, I can't imagine I'd let him have the first bite, but where he put the fork in the dessert disturbed me. It's kind of like how someone loads the dishwasher. It was like, well,
What do
that's
you
a
do?
random, no, you start from this angle. What? And then oh, this is so sweet. I can't eat it. I didn't need to know any of that. Other than the I can't eat it, I'm a
Yeah.
fan of because
Right,
I
'cause then you can eat
certainly
it.
can.
I'm sorry.
God.
I'm snorty laughing.
Yeah, so it's like you are from another world. Then
Yeah.
he should have said, oh boy, I gotta back out of this one.
But did you hide it well, or did you tell him, that's not where you put the fork? Why are you putting the fork there?
I'm sure I was very nice for a month. And then when I had him in my grasps, I said, no, we start here and we take this amount because he'd probably take a big old chunk, which would scare me.
There's not much
I
left.
might not have enough.
Oh my God.
I feel unsafe.
Why didn't you just order your own dessert?
Well, then I did. Then I did.
And you
then,
finished his too.
yes. And I'd get, of course, sometimes he was still, you get the look
Yeah.
like, geez, and that was, shaming, but
Yeah.
I couldn't just say, yes, more, keep coming now. God. One time our
Well,
dogs,
I just want to put this out there. People don't know this, that you guys have known each other for what?
40 years,
40
yeah,
years and been
yeah.
married for.
and we did therapy. I
Yeah,
gotta say,
yes.
therapy, I highly recommend a good therapist because just we would be getting along well and still go to therapy because you learn, people talk more now about what's they're thinking about. Maybe they do. Well, here's my brain, when you did that, my brain went to that
Yeah.
childhood thing. And, then you could go, oh, actually you thought that?
Yeah.
Because
This
I
is
was
what I-
making this, opera out of, and this one story I have with Jim. So therapy, my God, would help. He's a musician along with he's a teacher as well. And we were on a vacation and had this brooding look. And we were at a, cafe and I'm seeing all these people at San Diego walking by, looking in love and all that. And thinking, I can't live like this because I'm a brooding guy. And so I finally had the courage to say, what's going on? Thinking was going to say, I just can't do it anymore. The food thing I can't take, we're done. And he was saying, I was thinking of the song Let It Be. There's a key change, and I wasn't sure if it was going
Oh
from
my
an E
gosh.
to an F. And I was thinking of George Martin on the thing. And I am like, I'm a lot.
Yeah.
He's always thinking about
Music.
chords,
Yeah.
music, or how he's going to help around the house or help our family while I'm plotting, oh,
Well, the stories we tell ourselves, right?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that helped communicate. It was a lot of relief of, oh, so.
Yeah.
And we're trying to do that. I mean, we do try to, because the stories like you said, the stories we tell ourselves, and if we're telling those stories out loud, it makes it easier to be like, oh, that's what you were thinking?
Yes.
Mhm,
Chords on Let It Be?
mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was, yeah. And what I needed to say was, hey, can you be a little more present? Because I'm lonely
Right.
or I'm scared you don't love me.
Mhm.
And as we've matured in a relationship, it's a lot more clear and more loving and
Well, and there's a vulnerability to that too. So, like we're
yes.
reading through a book called Secure Love. I don't know if you've heard us talk
Yeah,
about
a
it, but we
bit,
talk
yeah.
about we talk about it a lot. But yeah, in Secure Love, that's one of the things that we've learned a lot about is that vulnerability it takes to just say like, okay, here's the story I'm telling myself, no matter how ridiculous that may seem. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
allowing the other person the opportunity to, talk about that or, set the record straight a lot of times, right?
Yeah.
Because like that's not really what's going on. Like that's just a story you're telling yourself.
Right. We
So
go to this fear place and then anger because we think and
yeah.
it's so hard.
That's where I get in trouble, I think. I think a
You
lot.
thinking?
Yeah.
Thinking is where you get in trouble.
That's where I get in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like I'm thinking that this is what you're doing is telling me that this is what you're thinking. And I'm thinking about that all the time.
Yeah.
Like what's going through your mind and why you say, what you say, why I say, it's just it's a lot. It's
Yeah.
a lot. It's scary in there.
Jim will sometimes say, and I'll do this with him now, he'll get quiet. When someone's quiet, I get anxious because that's another story. But he's taught me just to say, are you okay? Are we okay?
Mm-hmm.
Are we okay? Do we need to clear something up?
Yep. That's very similar to what we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
I am the anxious one in our relationship,
Right.
just so you know. Like I am the one that has
Yeah.
the anxiety about like,
Yeah.
oh, she's quiet. What's going on?
Yes.
Yeah.
And now also I know with Jim, if he's quiet and cranky, I used to bring snacks when we'd go to the mall or something. Not that we did, but when we do that, because I knew, and I would feed him to him, and he would, "Are you hungry?" And he's one of these ones. That's where we're different. He gets so hungry, and then time would pass
Yeah.
for whatever reason. Oh, it's too late to eat. I'm too hungry to eat, and it's like,
What?
okay.
Too hungry. I've never had that feeling before in my entire life.
Yeah, but it's because there's no glucose is in him,
Yeah.
so it's that. Now, also what I learned, and I learned this from teaching emotionally disturbed children, but I wish I'd learned it in marriage, is when you have an issue or you're heated, when there's some spicy heat going on between someone or you're perceiving, wait, don't discuss the thing then. Wait. So, and that's hard because if Jim does something, reacts some way, and it makes me angry, I want to come back with, oh yeah, blah, blah, blah. And we're not screamers because I couldn't live that way because of my childhood. But instead, or I panic. I just have learned and it was great because I'd see that with these students, they would go skyrocket and then wait till they have come down that mountain and it's kind of calmer and go, hey, let's talk about this. Were you mad? And that's when what comes out is the vulnerable, I'm really afraid of this, or I was thinking this, or I'm just exhausted, or
Yeah.
So
as the person with anxiety, this is a really interesting
Yeah.
conversation because like for me, like I tend to be the more anxious attached, the two of us. Like
yeah,
I want to hash it out until it's dead. Like I
right.
want to talk it into the ground. I don't want to let it go. I don't want to let it mingle,
Mhm.
fester, anything. Like I just want to have it out. And so like how do you calm your mind in a way when your partner is saying like, hey, I need a minute, like, or we need to let this
Mhm.
simmer, like we'll talk about it later. Like how do you not go to the scary place
Mhm.
in that moment? Because
Yeah.
like that's what I struggle with is like I go to the bad place.
Yeah. Well, you call a friend, you text a friend and tell them what you're feeling. Reach out, get help. And, my sisters, I would call them and say, or text them and say, Jim had I'm just going to say not taken out the garbage or
Yeah.
something, and just using something
No,
ridiculous.
sure.
But it was around a time where just something I was pissed. So he'd use a snotty tone of voice with me. And I call him and I'd text and say, I'm done with him. I'm divorcing him. And they'd laugh, they text back, yeah, get rid of him. He's horrible. And both of us will do that in our relationships.
Yeah.
And it's funny because we get it that long-term relationships, you have that all the time. And if you talk to someone else about it, either they'll share with you, which isn't so great, something they're going through, because it's not so great because sometimes you just want to be listened to, but also
Right.
just go, it's okay. You're going to be okay. Just
Yeah.
breathe it through. It's going to be okay. It will. Because I have to go back, and this was hard for me. I had to go back and trust that I've been with this guy 40 years and he's always there for me solid.
Mm.
He's never given me any shaky ground feeling of he's not going to be there ever.
Mm.
He's, yeah. So
That's amazing.
That is amazing.
it's amazing to say it out loud, but I really do feel that.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've like I put him through kind of a lot of, I don't know, a funny sense of humor saves my butt.
We like to
Yeah.
laugh.
We like to laugh.
We do like to laugh, but sometimes you go to humor
Yeah.
and when,
Yeah.
you know, you're trying to cover something up
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
to, you know,
And he
smooth
gets
something.
it. He sees my family. He gets trauma. He worked with kids in trauma, so he
Right.
gets it. And there again, therapy. I've always worked on it. Luckily, I've done therapy in 12-step groups. So we've always had the communication where it wasn't like, I'm fine, it's you.
Right.
And I never felt like it was all me, for sure.
Sure.
You know, but in fact, when I went to therapy, we first went to therapy, I thought, finally, he's going to deal with this stuff with his mother and his father and his whole family. We're going to finally clear this up. And they kept bringing it back to me. Well, tell me about your mom and your dad. And I was like, yeah. Well,
What-
look, I've done therapy 12, so I'm good. You get back to Jim and his thing. Like,
Oh, sorry.
God damn it.
So I want to hear about your support within BLE because it sounds like you do have support of your husband, but obviously as him not being a food addict, that is not as
Yeah.
and it's not as meaningful support as maybe
No.
other people who are.
No.
So let's hear. I would like to hear like what's your support look like?
It's good you asked that. It could be better just by me saying, Jim, I need you to weigh out my food. He'd do it. And I do. I just need to ask. I need to say, like, I'm going to come home from this vacation. Jim, could you make sure there's bags of lettuce and broccoli and this amount of I can say chicken or something. I don't want
You
to
can say
trigger
broccoli.
You can
anyone.
say, yeah.
Oh, broccoli.
Tomatoes.
Trigger warning.
Yeah, for Patty.
Yeah, I know. So I need to be more vocal.
Yeah.
And so I think sometimes I put, and this is my addict, I'm going to put everyone else, friends are coming over. I will get the NMF for them after dinner thing because it's someone's birthday. It's my disease.
Mhm.
I need to put myself first and go, this is what I need. And I come home from this trip and I just need this. So I need to be verbal and that. He's like Jerry Seinfeld had a joke like, I wish they would just about being married or something.
Yeah.
Would they just tell us what you want? Something like that.
That's right.
That's,
Yeah.
you know, that's all I need to do.
I just had this conversation with another woman in BLE who is in a, you know, she's in a heterosexual marriage. And I said, I'm no marriage expert at all, but I said, I think most men just want to be told what exactly you're looking for. And I said, I mean, I don't want to make too big of a jump.
True.
But it's like, if you just tell them exactly what you need,
They'll get it.
they'll probably do it for you.
Get
Yeah.
it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I can do that. And I think it's not that I don't take my recovery seriously. I just think, oh, it's my thing, my burden. I've got to do it. I don't want to put it on him, but that might be my disease saying, and you can be
A
sneaky.
little bit isolator.
Yeah. Isolator.
Mhm.
Yeah, definitely. I have a scared little whatever, but yeah, but he's also great. There are times where I've said, I'm finished dinner, take my plate. Could you take my plate? I have to go in the bedroom. He's like, okay, good, do it, good. And he
Awesome.
likes that when I do it because then he knows I'm trying.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's pretty good with it. Gosh, what a guy.
Yeah.
Of course, know this, I will be texting them when I go back. And my sister's, what an asshole. You know, he wasn't as thrilled when I got home.
Oh no, I'm sure he'll be thrilled.
The re-entry, he will be, but re-entry when you've been away is rough
Yeah.
at times. It's pecs,
Yeah, for sure.
you know, because he's not going to want to hear about everything I
You're
did.
not.
He wants the abbreviated
Abbreviated
version.
version.
Yeah.
But what other BLE support do you have? Like outside of him?
Okay, my friends I text
Yeah.
all over the world from the noon in California, bright and friendly Zoom meeting. Yeah, them, my Al-Anon friends,
Okay.
some AA friends. I just feel like that's not enough, but the more I go to those, oh, and the podcasts and the bright, Susan's
Susan's vlogs.
vlogs.
Yeah.
But sometimes computery stuff and vlogs and blogs is too much for my brain.
Yeah.
I just want not that. So, but when I do, I'm always, oh, the fifth bright line, Dr. Joyce,
yeah.
that was great. Because sometimes, and my friend Vicky helped me with this, because sometimes it's just a matter of tweaking, having a little more protein.
Right.
And you can get through. It's like, oh, I wasn't doing that, or
Right.
not getting in restricted mode. And yeah, all the people who reach out to me or I reach out to, it's always a blessing. So I do that daily along
Yeah.
with you guys.
Yes.
And just knowing at any time I could text anybody. And the longer I have between my sugar, that I haven't had sugar and flour, the more willing I am when a craving may hit or a feeling may hit to reach out to you
Yeah.
or someone else. When I am in it and it's only been a day or two, it's rough, because people say to myself, I don't know why I didn't reach out. Well, when you're in it, it's like you're a monster. It's like, I'm getting in the car, don't listen to your
Right.
brain. But
And you've talked about detox. I know I've heard you talk about detoxing on
yeah.
Noon Zoom
Ugh,
before. So I
yeah.
know it's something that it's a rough.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
That really helped me with the noon meeting, because, and I knew it, but I was in the grief thing and all the other, and I just was like, by about, month and a half, even 6 weeks, I was still felt not good.
Yeah.
Like I had the flu along with depression worse. And I mean, not the whole day, right? I always make it the whole day. It's moments. I try to remember it's moments of misery,
Right.
followed by this kind of stuff.
Right.
But maybe not then. That wasn't a very good time. So yeah, it's a thing. It's for sure.
Right.
And your joints ache, and you're
Yeah.
not clear thinking. The clear thinking thing. Yeah. Well, that stuff I know. That's why it's an addiction, because you know how good you feel.
When you're not.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That
And
peace is everything.
everything. And you think, I can never go back.
Mm.
Yeah. And for many people, they don't. God, and hold on to that.
Yeah.
Hold on to that, baby.
Yeah.
Hold on to it for sure.
Yeah.
And there are people like me for whatever reasons, and we're no less than. I've had to learn that. It's just our road in life is and this, for now, I feel like, yeah, I'm not gonna ever go back. And
Yeah.
for today, I'm not.
That's right.
That's all you have is for today.
That's all we have is today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One day at a time.
Yeah.
I
Write
know.
that down.
We should make a t-shirt.
Yes.
One day at
Posters.
a all the things.
Tattoos.
Tattoos. Not getting a
gosh.
one day at a time tattoo. So, Maria, I am just so appreciative of you coming to visit us. Number one, I'm so excited to meet her for the first time in person.
I know, that's
like,
great.
you're a person outside of, yeah.
She's
Patty's bragging that she's met her 3 times.
Yeah.
But this is the first time you came to us, came to me.
I
and to us,
know.
so,
That's really fun.
Yeah.
It's so fun to see our people in the environment they live in.
Someone's phone is very rapidly going off. I don't know whose it is.
Might be mine.
Okay,
probably.
cool. Well, we'll just leave it then. No worries. Anyway, we have hiccups all the time on the show, like people being outside and coming in,
Stephanie coming
walking through the podcast. So we just do this as we do it. There was one more question I wanted to ask. If you were writing a book about your life, what do you think the next chapter would hold?
Kind of makes me emotional.
Oh,
I think It's all good.
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, that you guys know a lot of hard stuff, but I feel it's all good. It's onward and upward
Yeah.
and backwards and downwards and, up and down. But it feels good.
Yeah.
But that's just this journey too, is dealing with all of that and
Yeah,
feeling that,
right. Life
right.
gets, all of us
because
have
she
life.
said it a lot. You numb with food. You're numbing the good parts and the bad parts.
Yeah, it's just what you use. You have a feeling and use. And part of being, of course, in any 12-step meeting and our noon meeting is you get to hear other people's lives that you go, oh no, that's awful. And you worry about them. And it makes you, even though it's hard to see your friends that you've made these friends with these rectangles suffer, but oh God. And then they go through stuff and they're bright. You go, oh, okay, I can go with,
Yeah.
I'm at a raspberries and I really wanted them, or
Yeah.
whatever. Or, worse, you get through.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we all know it. Food does not make it better. Oh, that really took the edge off that was my life. Just, is there something to take it down a notch?
Yeah.
I just want it down a notch. And well, there's Bright Line Eating takes it down a notch.
Yeah.
Ooh, write that down.
Bright Lining takes it down a notch. Hashtag TM registered trademark. No, I'm kidding. No, but I think that that's true. I think that that's something that I know that I've experienced. Like,
Yeah.
Being sober and not having food to numb has put me in a place of feeling the feelings and having hard feelings, like going through hard things, but being able to just feel them and ride the emotion through.
Yeah.
And also just like admitting them and admitting that I'm having feelings, like that's a whole new thing for me, not just being like, oh no, I'm fine, it's all fine, but like, no, I'm having these feelings, and whether other people agree with them or not is not the important part. So
and you just feel them and you don't have to do anything. I also want to say, for people who are in the ditch,
yeah,
when I'm in the ditch, I probably am not going to listen to this, but I'm going to feel like I'm never going to, well, good for you. Oh, good for you.
Yeah.
So whatever, I get it.
Yeah.
Just take little steps. Like tomorrow I will eat one bright meal, or
Right.
I
Well, and I'm
will
guiding somebody
eat
right now that's
more
like,
vegetables.
right.
And just shoot for that.
Yeah. And I was gonna say, I'm guiding somebody right now. It's just like they're just not having flour and sugar. Like they
Yeah.
decided like that's all they can do. And it's like,
Yes.
oh my gosh, how amazing. Like if that's all you can do, how much better are you doing for yourself that you're cutting flour and sugar out of your diet? You know what I mean?
You want to be, you're praying to be, willing to be willing. Good. Just because it's not easy.
No.
It's not. So, and that's what helps me too. So, yeah.
Yeah. Do you have anything else to say?
No, I think that's why we like the noon meeting so much, is because, we know that everyone is suffering in some way and they're still figuring it out with the food or without the food, or, and that it makes you feel like you can do it too.
Yeah. Well, and there's a human aspect to it, like that we're all human.
Yeah.
That we all have our stuff, no matter where we're at on this journey. And
Yeah.
and then what I really love about it is that we can all just show up. It doesn't matter how you show up. You can just show up. And so,
Yeah. We prefer shirts.
Shirts and shoes are good.
I don't care. I don't care. Pants, I don't really care either. We don't see that part of people's bodies. So.
Sometimes I stand up when I'm eating lunch.
And then pants. Yeah.
Pants.
Or a jumpsuit kind of thing. That these two are delightful, and I really get a good feeling about your future. I think you're on track. I love it. No, it's a good feeling. And the cinnamon thing is real.
Patty has a cinnamon addiction. For anybody who doesn't know that,
it is delicious.
Addiction is strong.
Yeah, I
have a cinnamon affiliation.
She has a yen, big yen.
I could get sponsorships, actually.
You could get sponsorships from all the cinnamon. We actually should take stock in cinnamon, because that's how much cinnamon we buy and trade in. So yeah.
Hey Siri, add cinnamon to the Costco list, please.
I hear that at least 3 times a week. all that to say, for those that might be wondering, this noon Zoom that we're talking about, we don't put the information out globally because it is a safe meeting that we want to keep safe. But if you are BLE adjacent or BLE official, whatever, you reach out to one of us, we will happily give you the meeting information. We just don't, like I said, we just don't post it on the internet for everybody. So it is an open meeting. I just want to give a little information about that. It is unofficial. It is not part of the official membership. And anybody who wants to can show up. And it's just a time of sharing. There's no prerequisite. You don't have to share. You don't have to turn on your camera. You don't have to do anything. And I'm sitting next to two people that host. So you would know if you came on a Monday or a Friday, you would see a familiar face if you're watching this podcast. So
Monday, Friday.
Yeah.
anything else you want to share, Maria, before we wrap up?
No, thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you, BLE. Thank you, everyone. Thanks
Yeah.
all of you. I just want to thank you all.
Thank you, Maria.
Yeah, I was like, Patty, do you have anything else to share before?
No, I'm just so happy that our first guest was Maria. and
Yes,
that
first
we-
guest. We didn't even say that. Maria's our first guest on
Number
this.
13 and number.
Yes,
No.
episode 13, first guest.
Yeah.
We couldn't have planned it better.
But
We
it's
tried.
Monday. It's Monday.
It is
Mhm.
Monday.
Veterans Day.
Veterans Day.
Yeah.
Thank you for your service.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for your service if you're a veteran. And this episode won't probably come out till next Monday, but that's okay.
Yeah.
They'll see it when
You'll
they
know
see it.
how behind we are. This is our one episode.
Yes, our one episode for next week. Shh, don't talk about that. Okay, well, thank you as always, everyone, for tuning in. We appreciate you and we appreciate your support, and we will see you on the next episode. Bye-bye. Yay! Thank you,
fun.
Maria.
Oh my gosh, so fun.
That was
Thank
fun.
you.
I'm glad you had fun.
Yes.
Love it.
And that's the show. Thank you for tuning in. If you would like to contact us, you can email us at pattyandmegan@gmail.com or hit us up on any of our socials. Have a beautiful, bright day.